All right, let's go overseas. There are new concerns that the fallout from the anti-Islamic film may get worse after al-Qaeda's affiliate in North Africa called on Muslims to murder U.S. diplomats and escalate protests to drive the U.S. from Islamic countries. Al-Qaeda's affiliate in Yemen has issued a similar call. And while demonstrations in places like Egypt and Tunisia have tapered off, new protests have broken out in places like India, Indonesia, and Thailand, believe it or not. In Lebanon, the leader of Hezbollah made a rare public appearance to rally hundreds of thousands of supporters who gathered for a peaceful rally in Beirut. Back in Libya, where this all began, the burned-out consulate is sealed off and security has been stepped up amid the investigation into the deaths of Ambassador Chris Stevens and 3 other Americans. But the administration is having trouble with a key question. Why wasn't there more security before last Tuesday's attack? The U.S. ambassador to the UN, Susan Rice, said on Meet the Press that there was a strong security presence there.
We had security personnel in Benghazi, a significant number, and tragically, among those 4 that were killed were 2 of our security personnel.
But multiple U.S. officials told NBC's Lisa Myers that's not the case. And they directly contradict Rice, saying that the 2 victims she referenced, Glenn Doherty and Tyrone Woods, were not part of a security detail at the consulate. In fact, they say Ambassador Stevens often had very little personal security and that protection for the consulate consisted of 1 U.S. security officer and a local militia. What's more, Libyan officials say there were warning signs that the consulate might be targeted, including attacks on a British diplomat and a Red Cross building in Benghazi. Nevertheless, the administration is sticking to its position that last Tuesday's assault was not pre-planned. A CIA memo sent out to U.S. lawmakers over the weekend and obtained by the Associated Press says current intelligence still indicates the protests were spontaneous and evolved into a direct attack. Senators like Joe Lieberman and Susan Collins are now demanding an investigation.
It is inexplicable and inexcusable that our personnel were not better protected.
The U.S. military tells NBC News that it is suspending now most joint operations with Afghan forces in response to the growing number of insider attacks that have killed more than 50 coalition troops so far this year. NBC's Atiya Bowie is live for us in Kabul with the very latest. Atiya, so we are no longer training Afghans to sort of stand up as U.S. and NATO troops stand down. What's this mean for the withdrawal?
That's partly true and partly untrue. I actually called ISAF headquarters today for some more clarification because we've been getting very confusing information coming from all sides. What we do know and what they will say is happening at the moment is that they've had a threat assessment at the moment. They say they're in a high-risk state at right now, and what they're trying to do is trying to curb down on these insider attacks. That's when Afghan forces turn on their coalition counterparts. They're pointing to the insider attacks, but they're also pointing to this anti-Islamic movie. This weekend alone, 6 ISAF service members were killed by an insider attack. The Taliban claimed it was because of this movie. 4 of those service members were Americans. According to Colonel Tom Collins here at ISAF headquarters, he says what they're doing is they are halting joint operations under the battalion level, but they're not halted permanently. This is a temporary assessment that they've made. But if U.S. or NATO forces want to do joint operations with Afghans, they still can, but they have to get approval from the regional commanders. Just a reminder, Afghanistan is broken up into 5 regional commands, and each command has a 1- or 2-star general who's in charge of that. So these units can ask for permission, but the commander can say yes or no to that. But again, they say this is just temporary. Chuck?
Okay, Atiya Bowie in Kabul with the fact that it is temporary. We will keep following that and see if that does affect the U.S. timeline. Still ahead, much more on Team Romney in damage control mode this morning in the wake of that leaked fundraising video. But first, look ahead at the president's schedule and Mitt Romney's schedule today. President does some New York trips, got a fundraiser, appearance on David Letterman. Mitt Romney, fundraisers in Utah and Texas. I believe he's going to be with Laura Bush tonight. You're watching the Daily Rundown, only on MSNBC.